I just like to start by saying, guys, I think it was a very good season. Coach Brian did a fantastic job. Coach Brian did a fantastic job managing this ball team this year. Very informative, kept us all on cue, and did a great job. So I want to say from all the parents and all the coaches and all the kids, a big special thanks to Coach Brian for managing this team. It was a great job this year. It was great work.
We've got so many players that really came in and improved their game over the course of the season. I think I was talking to Hoppy last night about some of his improvements, and he said, I think we all improved, and I think that's true. You guys really came in, you applied yourself, you went to practice, you tried hard, you overcame some difficulties. Some of you guys overcame some fear of the ball, fear of failure, fear of not being able to throw a strike, fear of am I going to hit this batter when I throw a pitch? You guys really came out there and really did a great job. So one of the things that I do is I do keep stats over there. You see me with a clipboard, and that's something that we definitely keep stats on you. If you've been keeping your own stats, if you've been keeping your own batting averages, some of the batting averages that I read out may be a little bit lower than what you've kept because you're in the majors now. So there's certain times where you get on base that really you shouldn't be there. And I'm not going to count that a hit in the majors. If the ball should have gotten there and the ball was there, but the first baseman didn't catch it, I don't count that as a hit. It's an error. And the higher up you get, the more times you'll hit the ball and it'll be ruled an error. So just keep that in mind here. But that only happened a few times. That only happened a few times this season. We did a great job. Early on in the season, a lot of our players were really scared to hit off of the faster pitchers. But we had some guys that really stepped up, started hitting the ball, and you guys started building your confidence and started going up. And I can tell you that the last 4 games we played, those coaches, they said, man, even the team that we lost, which was the red team, that first inning, they said, man, these guys came to hit. These guys came to play. And they saw that you were serious, and they saw the improvement in you. Our first player that we're going to recognize today, he's probably the smallest guy on our team, but he actually tied for the lead in triples. That's in part because he hits really well, and in part is because he's really fast when he does get a hit. He actually had 4 RBIs and 3 runs scored. We're going to give it up for Leo. All right, All right. In pitching, this player sometimes struggled to find the strike zone, but when he was on, he was a pitcher opposing teams did not want to face. In fact, Coach Rico tried to convince us that he was 12 years old and not eligible to pitch one game. That's true. He said, he really shouldn't be pitching because he's 12 years old. We said, listen, he's not 12 years old. No, he's league age 12. No, he's not league age 12. So we won that battle, and Matthew really was really contributed to our team. He played solid defensively, making several outs, helping us defeat the purple team. Really probably played his best defensive game of the year, and we needed that. We needed those key outs. With his bat, this player came on strong at the end of the season with 7 hits. He had a batting average over 350. We knew he could do it all the time. He had an on-base percentage over 400. He had 3 runs scored, 2 RBIs, both coming on his walk-off double the last game to help us beat the purple team. Matthew Simmons.
Great job.
The last 2 games, he got the game ball, both games because of his performance.
Wow, back-to-back game balls. How about that?
This next player is really giving it all this season, especially at the plate. He goes up there every single time with determination, and I can tell you he's probably trying the hardest of all of you guys. He actually had the 2nd fewest strikeouts on the team. He drove in 2 runs with his bat and had a huge catch that helped us beat the purple team. That's Donovan. buddy.
Thank you, young man. Shake those fingers.
I mentioned that we've had a lot of guys that improved this year. And this guy, this next player, was one of those that, I won't say he was the most improved, but he was probably one of the most improved players. He actually hasn't played baseball. This was his first time playing baseball since he was 9 years old. But he came out, he worked hard, he improved in the field, and at bat to the point where he played center field at times, and he moved up in the batting order as he got hits. Against the Navy team, his bat helped us win the game. He finished the year with 4 hits, 5 RBIs, and 6 runs scored. Austin.
Austin! Great season, man. It was fun. Way to come on and hit that ball, buddy.
I need to grab something out of this bag here for this next one. I've got a few extra special gifts here for a few of the players. So this next player, let me grab this. This player contributed defensively in the outfield, infield, and as a pitcher. He was the most disciplined hitter on our team. He rarely swung at bad pitches, and he led the team with 6 walks. And that's why, because he didn't swing at those bad pitches. This combined with his 3 hits gave him an on-base percentage of over 400. That's why, and by the way, most of the season he had an on-base percentage over 500, which is why he batted second most of the year. He was 3rd in stolen bases with 12, and was tied for 2nd in runs scored with 7. And this goes to Dylan. One of the things we did. One of the things we did also is we hit balls. You know, it's a cement batting cage, cement on the ground, and there's chain link fence, so the balls really get beat up. And this one batting time, I don't know, was it 2 or 3 games ago? Dylan actually knocked the cover off of this ball, so you get to keep that ball, buddy.
Awesome baseball.
This next player played solid baseball at every position we asked him to play. And he played 5 different positions in the field. This player contributed with his bat as well, hitting over 350 with an on-base percentage over 450. 2 RBIs and 4 runs scored. This player, I can tell you, this player had the best attitude on this team. We did have some players on the team that when we would ask them to go to certain positions, they might grumble and complain a little bit. The first time I asked this player to go into center field, he said, "All right, coach, way to go. I've been looking forward to going out there." Ulysses, thank you very much. We always knew he was going to be there.
Then he's going to be a giant.
That's right.
Big boy.
Our next player, you remember that first practice where we tried everyone out at the positions? And we determined really from that practice what your skills were and where you were able to play. But this next player missed that practice. He wasn't there because he wasn't able to get there. That would put him at a disadvantage. He also missed 2 games early on. But you know what? He showed up to most of our optional practices. He showed up, I believe, to all of our regular season practices. He worked very hard. He demonstrated his ability to contribute both defensively and offensively to the point where he earned a starting spot in the infield, became really one of our best infielders, and established himself as the leading power hitter on our team. When we needed him to pitch, he actually came in and struck out 3 batters in 2/3 of an inning.
Awesome
because we had a
stuff.
drop 3rd strike. He finished the season with 8 hits. He was tied for the team lead with 2 triples. Was 2nd in stolen bases with 18, and was tied for 2nd in walks with 5. And was tied for 2nd with a batting average of 500. He also led the team with 1 home run, had the 2nd highest on-base percentage at .583, and the highest slugging percentage. Joshua H.
Great job, young man. Way to come on and play baseball, man. Awesome hit.
Our next player worked very hard this year and contributed defensively, offensively, and pitching. His ability to catch nearly every throw earned him the nickname Gold Glove Infielder. At the plate, he had 7 hits, 8 stolen bases, and 4 runs scored. He batted over 300. In pitching, he wasn't the fastest pitcher on the team, but he was the most accurate. He led the team in fewest walks per inning, fewest runs per inning, fewest pitches per inning, and was third with 3 shutout innings, only having pitched 6 innings. And this is Pedro. Pedro, I have a special gift. We mentioned the balls. This ball has been hit so many times, it's hollow inside. They've been knocking pieces have been flying out of this. And of all the players on our team, Pedro would hit this ball the furthest of all the players on the team. And I've got a bruise.
Great job, young man.
I've got a bruise on my shoulder from batting practice on Tuesday. So, our next player contributed to our team offensively and defensively. He played 7 different positions on the field this season and played where we needed him without complaining. As a hitter, he worked through the issues of fear of the ball and lack of confidence to come on strong in the second half of this season. He was 3rd on the team with 11 hits, was tied for first in doubles with 4, was tied for first with 6 RBIs, including a walk-off double to beat the black team, and scored 7 runs. He batted over 450 with a slugging percentage of .625. As a pitcher, he worked through his issues of fear of hitting the batter. He put fear into the hearts of his opponents. Of course, the fact that he actually did hit, I don't know, 6 or 7 of the batters probably didn't help too much with that problem. But he was our most dominant pitcher, led our team in strikeouts with 34. Among the pitchers who pitched at least 10 innings, he was 2nd in walks per inning, runs per inning, and shutout innings, and was tied for first with 2 wins and 1 save. And this is Joshua Goose Longworth. And he's not able to be here today because
Great job, Goose.
he got sick. Our next player, by the way, Joshua was one of the players that he would constantly, of course he was there with me, but he would constantly, after we had a practice or after we, he always wanted to have an extra turn in batting cages. After we had a pitching clinic, he'd want to go hit in the batting cages and he'd talk me in. So I'm going to give him this ball. It's another one of the balls that has the cover knocked off of it. Our next player started out this season afraid to stand in the batter's box and not sure how well he could do pitching to batters. He played well in the field and caught 2 of the hottest line drives I've ever seen this year. In our first game, this batter actually would not stand in the batter's box. He ran from every pitch and struck out 3 times. The next game moved him to the bottom of the batting order. He didn't complain, he didn't give up, he didn't pout, he didn't say, I can't do this. He overcame his fears and went on to lead the team in average slugging percentage, hits, and RBIs over the next several games, and moved up in the batting order to where he batted 4th or 5th the rest of the season. He finished 2nd on the team with 13 hits, tied for first with 4 doubles and 6 stolen bases, and was tied for first with 6 RBIs and had 5 runs scored. He tied for 2nd with an batting average of 500 and a slugging percentage of over 650. The first time he asked me to pitch, Coach Dave came to me and said, Coach Brian, I don't know if this is going to work out too well. When he struck out his first batter, he said, maybe you're on to something here. See, I'd already seen him pitch in the optional practices on Sunday, and I knew he could pitch. he actually led our team. He didn't start out as our #1 pitcher, but he actually led our team in the fewest runs per inning, the fewest runs allowed, the fewest walks per inning, the most shutout innings, and I think he was tied for the most shutout innings, or he might have even led the most shutout innings. He had, with pitchers that pitched over 10 innings, the fewest pitches per inning, and he was second in strikeouts with 27, tied for first with 1 save and 2 wins. And he is the most improved player of the year this year, and he was another one of those players that came out and said, hey, I want an extra turn in the batting cages. We're glad for you and all your advances.
Awesome ball player.
By the way, I forgot to mention, we had a lot of practices. I know we had the optional practices. Hoppy was at all of our practices except for one regular season practice that he didn't know we were going to have. And Pedro actually attended every single practice, including all of the optional practices. We get our perfect attendance award, Pedro. And now, our next player is my son's best friend. And we've known him for years. This year, before the season started, his parents came to me and said, we're going to ask for you to be, for Daryl to play on your team. And when you go, we want you to ask for Daryl to play on your team as well. And so I had actually already signed up to, sign Joshua up and signed up to coach and everything. And we were going, Joshua wanted to try out his new bat he had just bought. And my wife called me and said, did you put Daryl on the name, on your paper? So I went back up and put Daryl on the paper. He was the best defensive player we had on the field, no matter what position we put him in. I mean, he would dive for catches. It was just amazing the way he played. When catching, he blocked the plate like a pro. That tag out at home. Have you ever seen anything like that? I mean, that's Major League Baseball type stuff. I mean, that guy flipped over the top of Daryl, and
no fear.
I mean, that was just an amazing. Of course, Donovan caught that ball, threw it in. We got it over to Joshua somehow. Joshua came in the dugout and said, I didn't know what to do with it, but Joshua threw it home, and Daryl tagged him out. That was just a very, that game. I mean, they were about to score 2 runs there. They were about to score 2 runs, and on those, really that one play that was a double play, I mean, that just totally turned the momentum of that inning and that game, and we were able to come back and win in the bottom of the inning, which was just phenomenal. On offense, this player led our team in almost every category. He led the team with the fewest strikeouts of the season. He was tied for second with 5 walks. He had the most hits with 16. He had more than 1/3 of our stolen bases with 33. Which were more, by the way, than players number 2 and 3 combined. He scored 17 runs, which again is more than the next 2 players combined. He was the best 2-strike hitter. He could go up there. Coach Dave could tell him to bunt on strike 1. He could tell him, he would swing on strike two, and just totally miss it. And you would think, man, this guy's going to strike out. More likely, more often than not, on strike 3, he put the bat on the ball, and he was so fast. I mean, some of the umpires told me, I don't think I can run that fast. And in fact, I think he's probably the fastest runner, the fastest player at Sportsman's Park. He actually did have 17 runs. He had the best batting average on the team and the best on-base percentage on the team. Daryl is getting our MVP award this year. Now, I want to talk a little bit about a team, because we talked about individual stats, but the team stats really are what means something. Because when you're doing something individually, you're doing it to help your team. When you go up there to get a hit, you go up there to help your team. Now, We started out this season, and we weren't getting hardly any hits. In fact, Darryl was the only player on our team that was going up there with confidence and hitting off of the best pitchers. You know, some of our other players would get a hit maybe after they took the best pitcher out of the game. But we actually out-hit our opponents 80-53 at the end of by the end of the season. So that means in the second half of this season, we were hitting way more than they were hitting. We had a team batting average of over 350. Our on-base percentage was over 450. Our pitchers struck out over 90 batters, while we struck out only 70 times. Our pitchers did walk, however, 72 batters compared to other teams walking us 38 times, and that's really was a huge part of our losses. We did have 66 runs that we scored, and we allowed 92 runs. Pitchers going up into the spring, and by the way, players going into the spring, the talent level is going to increase dramatically. The best pitchers that you faced in the fall are going to be the lower end pitchers that you're going to face in the spring. You're going to face pitchers that are faster, pitchers that can locate their pitches better, and our pitchers are going to need to improve on those areas. We're going to need to improve our accuracy, we're going to need to improve our speed, but especially the accuracy. This is going to be very important going on. One of the things that we talked to our players about this year was confidence. You know, it's important to have the right mechanics in your throwing. It's important to have the right mechanics when you catch. It's important to have the right mechanics when you stand up there to pitch or to stand in the batter's box. But it's even more important to have confidence when you stand up there. And one of the quotes that we went over was a quote from Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. And so we told the guys, you know, if you get up there and you think you can't hit the ball, you're probably right. You're not going to hit the ball. If you get up there and you think you can, you're much more likely to get up there and hit the ball. You know, if you think you can't throw a strike, and we face pitchers that were like that, and we know that our pitchers got like that at times, where they didn't think they could throw a strike. You have to battle through that as a player. You have to believe that you can do it. And when you believe that you can do it, you're much more likely to get out there and do it. So I just want to encourage you as you go forward to this next season. You know, you're going to have a tryout. You're going to have to go out there and hit the ball and field the ball. Coaches are going to be looking at you. There's going to be a draft. You may make it into the majors in the spring. You may not make it into the majors in the spring. But go out there and give it your all and give it your best. Let me tell you something. Like I said, the talent level is higher in the spring. You're going to have to try harder. Most of you guys, I'm not trying to discourage you at all, but most of you guys, if you make it onto the majors, you will be sitting on the bench except for 2 innings out of the game. But what you'll have to do is have the tenacity to improve your level of play, to make the hits, to show the coach that you should be in there every inning of the game. And if you can do that, the coaches will put you in. When I was 12 years old, I made it into, it wasn't called the majors back then, it was called A-League. And I played 2 innings and I sat on the bench the rest of the game. My coaches found out that I was the best catcher on the team and they wanted me in there. But they said, you know what, your son, they came to my dad and they said, your son's only hitting 200. He's got to improve his batting average. If he improves his batting average, we're going to put him in there the whole game. And I worked on my batting, and I worked on it, and I worked on it, and I improved my batting average. I started going and getting hits. And you know what? They put me in the game. You've got to improve in certain areas, and you guys can do it. You guys need to go out there having that confidence that you can do it, that you can make it. And there's not a single player here that can't make it in the majors. But it's not going to be easy. It is going to be hard. You're going to have to go and work. And you guys can do that. I look forward to seeing you out on the field in the spring, whether you're on my team or on someone else's team. We look forward to having you there.
Thank you.
Now we'll go ahead and transition to recognizing our coaches. So I believe we'll let Brian continue in that direction.
Now,
Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
never mind.
sure.
Oh yeah, what was I thinking? Yeah. I'm not thinking.
Okay.
Recognize Brian.
Okay. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but Coach Brian did an awesome job this year coaching these kids, managing this baseball team. Very informative, kept us all informed, everything that was going on, kept us all on the right track. We didn't even have to look at the schedule pretty much. I kind of cheated. I just used Coach Brian's emails. So very good coach, very good with the boys, and we wanted to give you this plaque to say thanks, and we also wanted you to notice the quote down in the middle of this plaque.
Read it out loud.
And it's quoted by Henry Ford, and it says, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Coach Brian used that over and over on these boys, you know, for the last part of this season, and they really developed a can-do attitude. So I thought nothing was more appropriate than put on his thank you plaque from us. Thank you very much, Coach Brian.
You're welcome. Thank you. You know, when we asked this next coach to help us out, he said, you know, I don't know if I can do it or not. I don't know if I have enough time in my schedule. You know, sometimes I do side jobs, and I don't know if I can make it. But I can tell you, there were times that I couldn't make it to the field, and I texted Coach Petro, and he was there. And you know, he got there, he was there throwing batting practice. You know, if I was 10 minutes late, he was on time most of the time. And you know, there was a game or two that he had to miss, and there was a few practices that he had to miss. But he was there on the optional practices, and just a tremendous help to us. And you know, I don't think we could have made it without you. And you know, I know what it's like. You're welcome. You'll notice Coach Pedro has a battle wound there on his leg from getting hit last Saturday. I've got a bruise up here from little Pedro. You know, the pitch before this, he said, I almost hit you. I just blew it off. That next pitch right there, I wasn't blowing that one off. But Coach Dave is an amazing coach. This is actually his second time through this. He'll probably talk a little bit about that. He's got kids that are in college now, and so this is his second time through Little League. He coaches two teams. I don't know if you know that. We could hear him when we were in batting practice. We could hear him. Okay, boys, get out there! Come on! We could hear him with his T-ball team out there on the field, and you know, the players say, "That's Coach Dave out there," right? And so, but you know, it was really exciting to work with him, and he brings a wealth of knowledge to the field. He really helped our pitchers out, he helped our hitters out, and I just really appreciate you, Coach Dave. All right. I did want to give you guys a chance also, if anyone has a business or you work. I know Pedro's a mechanic. He does some side work. I don't know if you know, probably a little bit less expensive than the mechanics if you ever need any auto service. Dr. Michael Hofsky, who's some of the kids know as Coach Mike, that filled in a few times for us in the dugout. He's my wife's chiropractor. My wife was in a car accident a few years ago. It was a small car accident, but he really helps take care of her. And so we have some business cards there. I also have for Faster PC, that's our team sponsor, that's our business. We can fix individual computers. We can fix, you know, we worked on anything from one computer all the way up to 100 computers in a business. So we can handle any computer problems that you have. And if anyone else has any, you know, if you work in a business that others here can utilize, you know, I think, you know, it is a very difficult time economically, and if we can help you out, let us know. I know Carla, she does graphics. You can tell about your business.
They can print anything. They can make anything. Go ahead.
T-shirts with the trophies. Now we're gonna do an extra one for me. With the trophies, too, flags. We can embroider. We printed anything that you guys need for business or family reunion or school. I have business cards if anyone wants.
I'd like to say a big special thanks to our team mom, Miss Monica. Keeping us on track, party together, pizza, and fun.
Thank you guys. All of you guys do the hardest part of this.
for sure.
We do want to thank all the parents also. I know we have parents that were bringing their kids to practice, dropping them off. Sometimes you were staying there with them. Sometimes you stayed there and read something. But boy, it's just really helpful. And the more times you can spend with them, if you can play catch with them or take them to the park, spend some time with them and make that connection with them. It's so important as they're growing up.
That's absolutely correct. And real quick, the last thing I want to add, I pretty much say it at the end of every season. Some staggering numbers for you guys real quick, but the 80% of the kids that start playing baseball at age 5, they're done between age 12 and 13 because there's other things to do. But those 12 and 13-year-old kids that kind of get a little push in the back and get some help from mom and dad, they're the kids that go on to be that star athlete on that high school baseball team. It's not fun to go to practice when you're 12 or 13, but when you're 14 and 15 and you're walking down the high school hallway with that leather jacket on, feeling like the coolest kid in the school, then baseball's fun. So there's a very certain time in their career, in their baseball career, where you really have to push them, and that is from age 12 to age 14. They're not going to want to go to practice. Most of them are not. You're good athletes. They're going to want to do something different, but as a parent, you just keep pushing them on through, and they will be successful if you get them to the 14, 15-year-old age. So keep pushing these kids. Keep them in organized sports. It's very good for them at this age.
You have anything you want to say, Coach Pedro?
Thank you to everybody. We will see next season.
Next season. See you guys in the spring.
Yeah.
Remember in the spring there will be a draft. So all the kids are going to have to try out. And Coach Brian and I will most likely be coaching together, and we will pick the kids accordingly in the draft.